Let's go ahead and get into it, guys. So Northwestern took Purdue to overtime. Ultimately, Purdue pulls away and wins this one 105-96. Purdue, they are the best team in the Big Ten. Wisconsin, obviously, is right up there with them, but now Purdue has the most conference wins in the Big Ten with 9. We're going to talk a little bit about Purdue, Wisconsin later, but this is just a really, really strong team. Northwestern, I think they're underrated. And you were talking about before we got on here, they're supposed to be ranked in your mind. I can't agree with you more. To me, Buie's a superstar. They went into Les Lafayette and they gave the Boilermakers a real strong challenge. We'll start with you, Ann. What were your thoughts on this game?
Like I said, before we started going, I think that Northwestern outplayed Purdue for the most part of that game. I think Purdue had, they both played, they both did what they wanted to do, right? You know that Purdue wanted to attack the inside. Braden Smith felt something about not being on the Yakuza list. I don't know how many points he ended up with, but I think he had like 15 or 16 dimes. What a message that sends, you know what I mean? And then on the other end, you have Buie, who was on that list doing what he does. You have Tyberry making shots. It was just an incredible back and forth. And I just can't believe Northwestern's just not a ranked team. I can't believe it. They do have the loss to Chicago State, but full context, Chicago State has a pro and Cardette. So I mean, it's just, I don't get it. I don't understand. Like, they just came off of a top 10 win. They just beat Ohio State, and they were 15-5 coming into this game. I don't get it. I just don't get it.
And they beat
and
Ohio
for
State
like and for like optics. Yeah, and for like the optics, like how much better would that have looked, right? To the casual fan seeing Purdue at 2 and Northwestern at like 23, right? Now like, they unranked Northwestern, blah, blah, blah. When in reality, they probably got a whole bunch of votes this past week.
Yeah, no, for real. And that's kind of life in the Big Ten right now. It's what I've been saying about the conference for most of the years. They're just not getting the respect they deserve, because it doesn't seem like some of the teams have had the off season like they typically have, right? Michigan State was, they had that big Baylor win, but outside of that, they didn't really get the respect outside the conference that I think they should have gotten. In Northwestern, kind of the same way. You drop that Chicago State game, and it's almost like that's poison, and nobody's going to rank you because you have to go over and beyond. Joey, what were your thoughts on the Purdue win over Northwestern?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've talked a lot about how impressive Northwestern was, and I'm a Chicago kid who grew up going to Northwestern games. Chris Collins went to my rival high school. I've always rooted for him and love him and love Northwestern, truthfully, and mostly because they used to be harmless and now they're very much not harmless. They're very harmful, as we've seen the last few weeks and tonight. But on the flip side, the Big Ten is hard, and Purdue just keeps winning. It's as much a testament as how great Northwestern is. It's a huge testament to Purdue being like, and Zach Edey being inevitable in a lot of ways. You can score 90-something points against Purdue and they'll just score 100. You can make 9 threes against Purdue and they'll make 12. Zach Edey's going to have 30 and 15 every other night in the Big Ten, and you're just going to have to deal with Purdue. As good of a team as they've had, right? I mean, who knows until we get into the tournament, and they have their issues, and is their backcourt strong enough? And Braden Smith has been so impressive, but everyone always has something to say about him and Fletcher Lawyer. But the key to them and the most impressive guy when I watch as a basketball, analyst is Lance Joens. I mean, the dude just makes Purdue whole, and it's just hilarious that he's not a 4 or 5 year guy under Matt Painter, and he's the best transfer not named Marcus Damask in the Big Ten, and he just so happened to be his teammate last year. I mean, it's just Lance Joens is so impressive because he embodies everything about Purdue where, yeah, he could score 23, 24 points like he did tonight, but he can also have 11 rebounds and 8 assists in a game and not make a single shot and have the same amount of impact. So I'm I'm very high on Purdue, like anybody is. Very high on Northwestern. I think the Big Ten has a very top-heavy conference as of late. And all that matters is March for the Big Ten, like always. But if this is foreshadowing, I think these are two teams that, definitely will make the NCAA tournament. But I don't see why. Obviously, Purdue, the expectation, they might be the number one overall seed, is to make the second weekend. But with Northwestern, their guards are really freaking good. Buie is as good of a point guard as you'll find in the entire country. They could be a second weekend team. They play a fun brand of basketball. They are incredible offensively. Collins runs incredible stuff, and they make and take high-level shots. And so this game was just it's refreshing. Truthfully, I watch a lot of Ohio State basketball, and their offense has just fallen off a cliff, and that's what I have to compare it to as of right now. That's what's fresh in my head. And this was like you're not watching a Big Ten game in a lot of ways because of how great the offense was. 16 assists for Braden Smith, like Ant said, is unbelievable. Buie had 25 points, and you're like, man, he probably left some out there. It was just a very fun game to watch and very aesthetically pleasing as well.
Yeah, I mean, it really seemed like everybody was on fire in this one. It was, shots dropping everywhere. If it wasn't Buie, it was Langborg, it was Fletcher Lawyer, it was Lance Joens. I mean, the shots were coming from everywhere. If it wasn't a three-pointer, it was Braden Smith dishing it into Zach Edey. And that's one part that I don't know. You guys tell me if I'm right or wrong in this, but I think Braden Smith is so underrated as a passer because everybody just says, oh, Braden Smith, I had Zach Edey on my team. I, get all those assists too, which, whatever. I'm sure it does elevate his assists some, but all of his passes, at least tonight, were so precise and right on the money, right where Zach Edey needed them. And obviously, I'm not taking anything away from Zach Edey, but when you have passes that good, right into your pocket, right where you need them, it makes it so that you can get the ball in the basket so much easier. Ant, were you seeing a lot of the same thing? What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Smith is top 5 in the country in assists. Like, does Zach Edey help? Yes. At the same time, he's like, things like, number 3 in the country or something. He's around there, and that doesn't happen by accident. Like, so much has to happen to even hit guys like that, right? It's not like you just dribble up and pass the ball to Edey. So much defense happens on the ball where, like, the opposing coach is like, look, one of the best ways to defend Edey in the post is by bothering the pass. Like, teams do a lot just to keep these teams, just to try to keep Purdue away from getting into the parts of the court where they can feed Zach Edey the basketball. You know what I mean? I do have to come back to the Lance Joens comment. I love Lance Joens. Joey's absolutely. I love Lance Joens.
How could you not? I mean,
I am a huge Lance Joens guy. I wouldn't put him as the second best transfer. Maybe most important.
Yeah, it's a better way of saying it.
I'd put him in most important. Would Wisconsin still be good without AJ Storr? Absolutely. But I think Lance Joens is much more important for Purdue than AJ. Khalil Ware, I think same thing, where he's probably a better transfer, but in my opinion, Indiana's better with only 2 post players on the court and 3 guards. So there's they didn't have Ware this past game. They were fine, right? How is Purdue tonight without Lance Joens?
They're not winning.
I don't think they win this game. I think they lose by multiple possessions. So I think if people were like listening to this back, they would try to get you on. I think you're trying to say like most important. You know what I mean? Like
he's definitely the second most impactful transfer.
Yeah, 100%. And I think when it comes to like the mask, Damask has to do so much without a point guard. They don't have a point. You know what I mean? They don't have a point guard. They don't have a point guard. And so Damask has had to take over. Where's this team without Damask if Terrence and then that Terrence Shannon stuff happens? Where's Illinois at? You know, so just want to add some clarity. I know how Twitter is. I know how social media is on people coming at you, bro. But yeah, definitely. But yeah, Braden Smith, bro, stop hating on the man. I know some teams like to hate on him, but you know, the dude dimes. He has good handle. A lot of that is because Lance Jones takes so much off of his plate this year, and they played so well together. It looks like they've played together for years. It's kind of weird that they've only been together for several months, but yeah, man. But yeah, I love Braden Smith. They gotta respect him.
Yeah, our guy, Jish guy in the chat is asking me, JR, as I recall, you being skeptical of Braden in the preseason. Hey, I'm man enough to say I was wrong. I was skeptical of Braden Smith in the preseason because I said Braden Smith is the key to Purdue elevating in this way. Now, obviously, I didn't see Lance Jones elevating this team the way he has, but I'll 100% put it out there. I was skeptical of Braden Smith, and he shut me up real fast this season because at the end of the day, his handles have improved. His ability to pass has been so much more impactful for this team. And not that it wasn't last year, but it's just on a different level now that's putting them in this kind of new tier, new territory, not just for this season, but also what I believe is going to be the postseason as well. Guys, we got a few questions in the chat from people. We can't get to all of them, but I do want to get to some of these. And Joey, we'll start with you. This one from Caitlin. How does Purdue get to throw 46 free throws and Northwestern only gets 8? I mean, that's wild. We can talk all day long about fouls,
that's just like, you know, if you're a football mind, that's like you complaining about your team getting no sacks when they hand the ball off the whole game.
Right.
It's the same. It's very, very similar. Like Northwestern was shooting jumpers today. Like you can't really get in the paint when there's Edey and there's bodies, and like Edey and TKR probably, man, if there's an offensive rebound and he's going up against whoever, I'm probably saying that he's going to get the ball. So,
right,
like Northwestern was shooting jump shots. Like you're not really, unless Ethan Morton's guarding you, you're not going to go to the free throw line from
he had a 20-minute trillion tonight. And did you see that? I've never seen that. 20.
No, but he had fouls. Don't fouls count for?
Did he have fouls? Yes, those fouls count. Yep.
He tackled someone.
I got that straight off of Twitter, so that's just my own fault, not doing my due diligence.
That's definitely like a Snell, that Tony Snell stat line. And,
yes.
Bro, I've had a trillion before. I was pissed, but man, those yeah,
you and me are a little different.
Man, dog, this dude put me, dog. I'm telling you, he did not need to put me in the game, bro. Indiana had the ball with 3 seconds left, right? Deshaun Sims fouls out. Zach Gibson, 6'10", right? He's the next big. He puts me in the game for like 10 seconds.
Oh, that's not a trillion. Don't worry.
That's not a trillion?
You got to play a minute.
All right.
I mean, it'll show up. It'll show up if it shows up as a minute, but like that's not a trillion. You got to be out there, a little cardio.
Yeah,
a little. I mean, you got to be able to say, I got to take a shower.
I was always doing something. I'll get a rebound.
You got to get your name in the paper. Amen.
Yeah. You got to get something. Sometimes Edey get fouled. This comment section, I just clicked over. It's kind of exciting over here.
Oh yeah, we got a lot of commenters. They're excited to have you guys here.
Ethan didn't have any fouls. I swear he fouled someone. He fouled a 3-point shooter. He fouled. Did they not give him the ball?
At the end of the game, who was it? Barry that shot that 3, and he kicked his leg out a little bit.
No, but before that, he fouled.
Langborg?
I think it was Barry.
I'm looking. Oh, this doesn't have
Morton
the
had
Purdue
0.
official stat sheet doesn't have fouls, I guess, that I am looking at.
On the CBS app, it has fouls, and it says Morton, 19 minutes, so basically 20. 0 fouls,
Zero foul. Did they?
2
Okay,
steals.
2 steals. 2
2
steals
steals.
though.
Oh, he had 2 steals. People
Oh,
are
yeah.
people are
Yeah, he had them. He had them early, like first half, because I was
Yeah.
looking. It was early, like first half. He had those.
Yeah.
people are quick to throw out the trillion. You got to do your research.
Yeah, because that's rare.
Not everyone's built for the trillion.
Man, I saw an 8-minute trillion the other day. I was like, what?
Anything over 4
Is insane.
Is insane.
It's insane.
Just think about like a 2-minute stretch each half. Like the ball might not bounce your way. You know, I mean, whatever. Couldn't be me.
Yeah, Purdue overall, 2 fouls for Edey, 3 for Joens, 2 for Lawyer, 2 for Smith, 1 for First, 3 for Gillis, 2 for Heidi, and then man, when you go to Northwestern, it's just like a bomb barrage over there.
JR, what I think is Edey is hilarious because he's the biggest guy to get officiated the way he's officiated on offense and defense, and it's like a little bit of respect for him being an incredible player, and he does a really good job of not fouling at times, but he gets the benefit of the doubt a lot. What I attribute Purdue's success in not fouling is they're so well coached. But at the same time, there's like every coach will say this too. If they look and they say, "Oh my God, there's 2 minutes left and we have 2 fouls," they're going to be a little upset because you need a little bit of aggression. You're not playing hard. But Purdue clearly plays hard and they clearly play aggressive. So I'll give them the benefit of the doubt in the grand scheme of things and say it's a testament to how well coached they are. I will also say, as an unbiased fan watching the game, if I was broadcasting a game on Big Ten Network, I would not sit here and say Purdue gets a great whistle every game. But I do think that Zach Edey is officiated differently than every other player in the country. And it may just be because he's 7'4", 320 pounds. But, he does camp out in the lane. Does he get 3 seconds all the time? Like people think? No, but he's also gets fouled on every single possession. You can't call every single foul. So it's such an interesting dynamic with Purdue games in general. I live with an diehard Indiana fan. Of course, he thinks that Purdue gets the best whistle ever, and you'd think that they're playing as the Duke Blue Devils in Cameron Indoor every night. But there's some truth to both sides of it. But I think the main point, and you can tell me if you think I'm wrong, they're so well coached. I mean, they are so disciplined and so well coached.
Yeah, they are very, very well coached, and I would say like Greg Gard's teams are very, very, very similar in that they're not going to try to block like so many teams are undisciplined where they try to block your shots, go for steals that get you out of position. Like they want to foul with their legs, not with their hands. They want to body you up and they want to wall you up and they want you to score over them and through them, not around them. And that really, and they go straight up. There's no verticality ever being broken, anything like that. And if you make the shot, that's fine. But they know that they're doing everything that they need to do from a standpoint of just playing solid defense. You don't need to be Anthony Davis like down there. You just got to be stout. Don't get bullied. Show the referee your hands. If you show the referee your hands, referees are not going to call the foul when there's tons of contact still. But they're showing their hands so referees don't call it as much. When it comes to Zach Edey is impossible to referee, and Joey is right. The dude gets fouled almost every single possession. But you can't call every single one. That's just how that goes. He gets fouled every possession because if they don't allow some physical play, Zach Edey would put up like 70 points a game because he'll be able to get to wherever he wants to. If anything, Zach gets fouled way more than anyone else.
Absolutely.
Easily. Like they're like like, because players have to put all their weight into just 3/4 fronting. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. He's impossible to guard without fouling, but referees aren't going to call it unless it's egregious. So, yeah. I don't know.
My guy Kent is in the chat here. He says, how many times did Edey get fouled? I'm asking. Everyone is saying the foul discrepancy was because Edey gets fouled a lot in the comments. So I don't have the exact stats of how many he got fouled in this game, but I can tell you that Zach Edey leads the nation in 8.6 fouls drawn per game.
They give him the
next
ball.
closest
He's right
is
by the
Jaden.
basket.
Right. The next closest is Jaden Ledee from San Diego State, who
My
is
teammate.
7.8. I know, a former Ohio State guy.
Can't believe I have a teammate still playing college basketball. That's insane. I love Jay, though. He's a great kid.
He's really good. He's doing really well this season.
I knew I was washed until there was nobody in college I played against. Or I didn't, how should I put it? Played with or against in their class. That's how I knew. So, man. So, when Seth Towns,
yeah, the first person I thought of.
Seth Towns was probably your guy. You're like a sophomore in high school. You are in the booth. He's still in college.
It's unbelievable. I was one class ahead of him. I had guys when I was a junior coming into Ohio State that were the same age as me, but they were freshmen, and then when I left, there were guys that were still playing that were the same age as me every year until really now. It was insane. I mean, good for them. Hey, if I somehow I only played 4 years. Everybody else has played more than 4 years in my little, 6-year span, basically. Everyone else has played more than 4 years if they wanted to. Somehow, some way I got stuck only playing 4. I tried to play another one, but it's all we. It's crazy. I don't get it. It's unreal.
How it goes. Your body starts breaking down. You're like, okay, what's next?
Exactly.
That's all it is.
Thanks for listening to the Big Ten Huddle. Please do like and subscribe. We appreciate that. If this was your first time listening, we are the Big Ten Huddle. We cover all things Big Ten football and basketball. We have a long episode every Sunday, Tuesday, and Wednesday night, all at 9 o'clock. So come in, check us out, get in the chat, let us know what you're thinking. We would love to have you join us and learn more about the Big Ten.